And it's only just towards the end of October as well, and so much has already happened at the City Ground. Merson, let's just finish off our talk about Ange Postecoglou, at least for the time being, because no longer in the Premier League after 2 seasons at Tottenham and, of course, a very short spell in charge of Nottingham Forest. And that move to Forest this season, he has no pre-season. He's trying to change the style as well. For you, was it always destined to fail under Postecoglou at the City Ground?
Yeah, I didn't think it made sense, the appointment. I like Ange. I think he's all right, Ange, but it's just the way he plays to the way Forest were successful last season were like chalk and cheese. You know, Forest want to sit back, they want to counter-attack with pace and a bit of guile. You know, Woods had the season of his life. And then all of a sudden they want to change that and play Ange, and he plays on the front foot, wants his centre-halves on the halfway line. I don't think their centre-halves are halfway line centre-halves, if I'm being honest. I think they're your edge-of-the-box kind of centre-halves that will clear it, kick it, you know, just honest defenders. And I just didn't think it was going to ever match up. I think Sean Dyche, he fits the criterion, the way he wants to play. Plus, they haven't got to be really free-flowing because they're in trouble. They can go out and be tight like they were and just nick a point here and nick a draw there. You know, I don't think he has to go out and be, you know, flamboyant and play, you know, entertaining football. He's just got to play the Sean Dyche way.
So who for you is to blame for this, Clinton? Because you look at Postecoglou, who comes in, and I think I'm right in saying he had a total of 20 training sessions with the players. I think in only 8 of them did he have a near-on full squad to train with. And then to change the style of a team that's been so successful the season before. Who's made the mistake here? Postecoglou in taking the job, but you can't blame him. He's never going to turn it down. Or the owner for bringing him in?
No, none of them made the mistake. It just hasn't worked out.
Why would you bring in a manager who's the antithesis of what went before in terms of style?
No, but you want to change a different style. If he wants to change a different style...
that early in the season when you're not picking up wins?
But that's what he wants to do. He's the manager. He puts all the money into the football club. He thought Ange was going to be the one successful. Ange goes to football clubs and wins trophies. He said it at Tottenham, and he did go and do it at Tottenham. So if the owner wants to bring him in, I don't think he had long enough on the training pitch to work with these group of players. But it wasn't Ange ball. He didn't play Ange ball in the end, because there were times where he was playing 5 at the back and his wing-backs weren't moving. Defensively, Forest haven't been good enough, and so that's why it's not really worked out well. I do like Ange, and I think hopefully one day he gets another job, but they brought a manager now in Sean Dyche who knows the Premier League inside out, and I think it's the right appointment because Forest were unsettled. They'll be settled with him. Defensively, they'll be strong, they'll have a structure, and they'll start climbing the table.
And what seemed to be part of his problem as well, Boyd, when we'll come on to talk in more detail about the style that Sean Dyche will bring and how, as you can see there, nearly it matches what Nuno Espirito Santo did, but he just didn't seem to understand the club. When you heard him in press conferences so often, he made it about him, he made it about his record. He didn't do a lot to endear himself to the Forest fans.
Yeah, but I can understand why Ange decided to go that route as well, because I think everybody's questioned every single thing that he's done for a period of time now. You know, he's spoken about delivering a trophy for Tottenham. He'd done that. I think people do forget about his first season where everybody was raving about him for a long period of time. And it's not worked out for him now for a number of reasons. I think that you know, you look at Nottingham Forest, and there is, for me, a few traditional clubs in Britain, and Nottingham Forest are one of them. And I thought Nuno got it right away. Sean Dyche definitely gets it. He's been there. A lot of his staff have been there that understand the pressures, the demands. But I mean, Tim's obviously been a manager, Merson briefly, but. I think when you are someone the total opposite of the manager who has came in, if it had been the other way around, it'd have been a lot easier for Nuno to replace Ange Postecoglou, because it's easier to go in and implement a defensive style. I think when you go in and try to turn it into an attacking style, when you have been a team that sat off and counter-attacked a lot of time as well, it can be difficult that way. So, you know, for me, I think the appointment was wrong, because it didn't fit the club in terms of the philosophy that they wanted to implement. So they've went back to a defensive coach as such. I don't, you know, that's what Sean Dyche will be. You know, that's what everybody says, but you've got to find a way to win games of football. Sean Dyche has done it in this league and for years and years and years, and he will do it again with Nottingham Forest.
And he was a youth player at the club as well, Tim. He's got real connections. He lives in the area as well, but in terms of where Forest are at right now, is he the absolute ideal appointment for you?
Yeah, I think he's steadied as a ship. without doubt. He takes Warren and Stone in there, who are two Forest legends.
That's a great move as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but he was always going to take them because they come together. You know, they're a partnership. That's how they work. The two coaches know exactly what Dyche wants. They know him inside and out. He will communicate with the players. He will try to get the best out of the group because that's what he needs to do. All managers do. I say it on here time and time again. There's no point just going in there and saying, "I will play my way," and that's it. You play the way what your hand's been dealt. You know, he'll look at the group and he'll say, well, they're capable of doing what Nuno did. He'll be looking at footage of how Ange tried to implement it, and he'll try to do what's best for the group. And that's sensible management. I mean, you don't need a master's degree to understand that. It's just nice and simple. And like Mercy's right, you don't have to win every football match when you're a Forest manager. You have to win enough football matches.
Yeah.
They're in a relegation battle because of the start they've had. I think the squad of players, what he's got there, are probably the best squad of players he's ever worked with in depth. You know, the Burnley players, I don't think that he had the strength in depth.
It's an amazing opportunity for him, isn't
Everton.
it? And they're in Europe as well.
Absolutely. He's got an opportunity. I thought that would be a hindrance, but it's turned out to be, you know, a platform for them to build on. Porto are unbeaten this season. You know, they go to the City ground, you know, and the fans get behind them and they get a fantastic result. So that gives them the confidence to move into their Premier League campaign.
And Merce, does he get Sean Dyche the credit he deserves? Because you look at the job he did at Burnley, absolutely brilliant. I mean, he got them 7th in 2017-18. He gets them into Europe as well, and he guides Everton through that period of points deductions as well, without them heading down into the Championship. He's more than just a firefighter, isn't he?
Oh no, he says he does what it says on the tin. He improves teams.
Yeah,
he improves teams. He improves players. It's how long people. He plays a certain way. You just reeled off them, you know, how well he's done, but he still lost his job. Do you know what I mean? So it's how long. Like Nunes had done unbelievable, and then all of a sudden the owner goes, you know what? I want entertaining football now. You know, people get spoiled. You know, they get carried away. For me, you will always be safe with Sean Dyche, always. And I think what Tim says spot on. This is probably the best squad he's ever had. So he's come back, he's refreshed, he's been away from football, he's got an unbelievable opportunity. He's in Europe. He probably can't believe his luck, and I don't mean that disrespectfully to Sean Dyche, because I don't think he gets the good jobs, if that makes sense. You know, put out fire Everton, Burnley's. You know, no disrespect to Burnley, it's not the greatest job in the world, but this is Forest, who was like 6th last year. They were in a shootout with Chelsea to get into the Champions League. He's come in and there's only 8 games gone. There's not like 29 games gone, and he's got the last. He could get on a run here. You know, I watched them against Porto. What he's got to do, sort out set plays. They look so dangerous. They were fortunate with the offside to make it 1-1. If that goes 1-1, you never know.
Well, they conceded 11 times from set pieces under Postecoglou.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he needs to sort it out, but I'm sure he will. So, yeah, good luck to him. You know, I'm pleased he's back.
OK, so what are his priorities then? We've already seen him in action against Porto. Brilliant result. He's off to a flyer. Really tough test tomorrow away at Bournemouth, Clinton. We know just how well Bournemouth are going today. I mean, he's got to re-energise the group of players as well. But he needs to get them organised as well. He's got to integrate a lot of new signings who, last week, bizarrely, a lot of them weren't even in the matchday squad as well. So what are his priorities? Is it style first? Is it organisation? What is it for you?
Win football matches. That's what you get judged as a manager, win football matches. Forest are not.
But that comes by getting some of those things I just mentioned right.
Yeah, but his style is similar to Nuno's style, Sean Dyche. But sometimes he can play. When his Burnley teams used to play 4-4-2, he didn't do that against Porto. I think he'll go to that traditional 4-3-3 where Gibbs White will want to play in his preferred position, in the number 10. And he's got Hudson-Odoi and Ndoye on either flank, and he played Igor through the middle. But that could be Chris Wood when he's fit. Defensively, they've conceded too many goals. They need to get back to, first and foremost, not conceding a lot of goals. Far too many goals. Murillo and Milenkovic were outstanding.
I mean,
last
those
season.
figures between him and Nuno Espirito Santo are... There's not a lot between them.
There's not.
So it's going to be a return to something like what we saw last season.
Well, this year wouldn't have been a surprise when Nuno lost his job that they had gone for Sean Dyche. But maybe I said earlier, the owner wanted something different in Ange, and that hasn't worked out. And now he goes to what you know, tried and trusted, in Sean Dyche, and you know what style of play it's going to be. So, yeah, I think he'll go in there, Sean Dyche, and do a brilliant job. I think Tim alluded to it. Bringing people like Ian Woan, Steve Stone, who are legends at the football club, helps you as well. But they've got a good squad, and they've got good players. But you make a good point, Si. People like Amari Hutchinson and McAtee, they haven't been making a squad. So you've got so many players that he's got to integrate into this squad and trying to keep everyone happy there. So that's what I mean. The owner spent a lot of money trying to keep everyone happy, but Sean Dyche is the right man to do that.
Wasn't fit to play in Europe on Thursday, Boydie, but it's a player he knows very, very well from their time together at Burnley, Kris Wood. 20 Premier League goals last season, just the 2 so far this season, both coming on the opening weekend win against Brentford. When he is fit again, that kind of coming together again of Kris Wood and Sean Dyche, it could be very profitable again, couldn't it?
100%. I mean, they'll know, or they know, Sean Dyche knows or understands Kris Wood, his strengths. Get the ball in the box. I mean, listen, I've said it now for a number of, like, a lot of centre-backs don't want to defend, they don't want to deal with the physicality, or they can't deal with the physicality. And there's one thing that Sean Dyche's teams do, is put the ball in the box. It allows their strikers to go and get on the end of things, whether that's with their head, whether that's cutbacks. Well, they will ask questions of a defence. And if you've got this man, if he can even get back to half, I mean, last year was outstanding, and if he can get half the goals what he got last year, then he'll be doing well this season. It's been a stuttering start for Nottingham Forest, but I'm sure under Sean Dyche will turn it around, and if they can get, as I said, Kris Wood back in the starting 11, create the opportunities for him, he'll score goals. He's shown that.
Yeah, he's gone 7 without a goal at the moment, but no doubt he'll be delighted to see Sean Dyche in charge. In terms of what now is realistic for Sean Dyche and Nottingham Forest this season, first and foremost, it's about making sure they're not in and around that bottom 3. But beyond that, what is this season now for you, Tim?
He's got Europe to worry about, which could be a hindrance to him. He's never had that before, so it's an extra game. But like we said, he's got a bigger squad, so he can use them games to have a look at the group. Survival. I'm sure when you go in to speak to any owner, Marinakis would have said to him, look, he wouldn't have liked saying it, but he would have said to him, we need to be safe in this league. You know, we've started so poorly that we just need to keep our head above the relegation zone. I think that's a minimum requirement, and I think then he would like to push on and hopefully get them back towards Europe. But when they're having a poor start like they've had, very difficult to be able to achieve that. I think
favourites for the Europa League. Could you see him? I mean, it's new for Sean Dyche as well in terms of being in Europe with Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Could you see him being successful on both fronts?
If he can get a tune out of the players and they buy into him, there's no reason why not. You know, it's not a very strong competition with respect. You know, it is a competition which is winnable for a Premier League side. We saw that last year with Tottenham. Yes, Ange Postecoglou prioritised that. Of course he did, and he put aside the position in the Premier League, which was quite evident. But I think that Dyche's got a big squad. He's got a big squad of players there. I think he'll need to win football matches in the Premier League as well as trying to win a domestic trophy. And if he's capable of doing that, then he'll be a hero at the club. But I think it's a really sensible appointment. You talked about whose fault was it at the end. Was it Marinakis? Was it Ange Postecoglou for going there? Marinakis does not care. He does not care. He makes decisions. He makes big decisions. He consults nobody with the decisions, and he makes them on his own. And I admire that from an owner, because in the end, you'd have to admit that he gets most of his decisions right. Or if he doesn't, he rectifies them straight away and changes his decision and brings in a change. And that's what he's done with Dyche, and I think they will stay in the league, and hopefully they can have a decent cup run.